Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again, here with part 2 of my reaction to the Spotlight 7, war hero or war criminal from Afghanistan to the Australian Federal Court in regards to Mr. Heston Russell in the November platoon and that twat Mark Willesee from ABC News. So anyway, let's jump back in.
Sources: the result for the national broadcaster was ugly. Justice Michael Lee ruled against the ABC, finding that they had caused Heston serious harm and ordered they pay him nearly $400,000 in taxpayer money in damages.
That's great, but unfortunately, at the taxpayer's expense, which I think ABC is a taxpayer-funded media schmozzle. Would have been nice if the money came from, somewhere other than poor old taxpayer having to front up and pay the costs of that bloody piece of crap media outlet. Anyway.
And the fact that they knew the truth, the fact that they knew Heston was innocent, and then they filed a truth defence, meaning we say that he is a war criminal, we say that he is a murderer, contrary to all of the evidence. That is shocking.
Not only shocking, it's just, I don't understand the legal system or how that is even allowed to happen without some sort of repercussion or consequence. So once he's found that their version of the truth, ABC's version of the truth, is wrong, like aside from a $400,000 payment, which is still not even enough, in my opinion anyway. 3 years you're going through and been in a pretty dark place. If he wasn't the type of person that he is and didn't have the character that he has, other people might have taken their own lives. And a $400,000 payout just doesn't seem like enough to me anyway, for an organization that should know better, for an organization that apparently employs people with some brains, or you would have thought that's questionable now. I don't think they do employ people with brains if you've got a twat like Mark Willesee sitting there, going off on a bit of a rant here. But anyway, surely there must be more to it, or there must be more sort of penalty, punishment for the ABC and for that clown Willesee.
Next, when one shot isn't enough.
They've literally added extra gunshots.
The dark art of turning a hero into a villain.
I fell off my chair when I saw this.
Plus, the US Marine whose accusations triggered the downfall of a decorated commando.
So it was pretty apparent to everybody involved in that mission that they had just killed a prisoner.
And the journalist who trusted him.
There's this idea that we make shit up, and we don't.
They did. Literally made shit up.
It's hard case, those little soundbite snippets that you get there and edit them. There's this idea that we make stuff up. Well, clearly you do, mate. Far out.
Retired Special Forces Commando Heston Russell spent almost 3 years fending off the ABC's allegations of war crimes. One place where he was able to find some peace was his dad's property in the Aussie bush.
3 years, man. 3 years you're fighting for your reputation, for your life, for your teammates, for his teammates that he's fighting for the truth. To have all of these things, come to the surface, to have all of that laid bare so that people can see that you're not a liar, can see that you're not a war criminal. He's not seeking to be found to be a war hero either. I doubt that. I've never heard Heston come out and say that about him or his team members. He probably would acknowledge, and he'd probably say that his team members, he considers them heroes. I would imagine he would say something like that, but he's not doing it to try to, make himself to be this big, great, important person or thing. He's literally fighting for his life and his reputation, his family's name, people that are close to him, and his troops, his team members. 3 years you put through that process, and there seems to be little done in terms of consequences for those clowns that make these accusations and allegations. And they're proven to be made up.
Then they're ready. Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, for this food. Thank you for bringing John and Heston safely, and may you get them travelling mercies home. I ask in Jesus' name.
Sorry, I was just smiling there. Sorry to pause it. I was just watching Heston Russell's chops chewing away, and his eyes open, looking around. That's probably pretty much like me these days.
When did you first realise that you wanted to become a soldier?
Oh, I grew up in a military family. I was born here in Sydney and moved up to Brisbane when Dad was posted up there. My grandfather and my nana on Mum's side were in the military, and my great-grandfather and great-great-great-grandfather on Dad's side. But all of the aspirational male figures in my life were all either in the military or sons of Dad's military mates.
As well as a proud lineage of military relatives, Heston's own service included 4 combat deployments to Afghanistan and a 5th to Iraq in the fight against ISIS. Welcome to the Heston Russell Military Museum.
Yeah, a bit of memorabilia I've collected over the years.
Enlisting in the Army at 17, he rose to become a highly decorated officer with over 10,000 hours of leadership in combat operations.
This is a whole coin collection, so...
have you got enough of them, do you think?
Yeah, right. So my first deployment in Afghanistan, I actually took Prime Minister Julia Gillard. I was her personal security officer. And then when we were flying back, she gave me this coin.
She gave you that?
Yeah. I told her I couldn't take it, and she said, I absolutely insist.
Wow.
And it's a pretty rare treasure. It was a very unique time, very unique insight into who she was at a personal level.
That's a very nice gesture, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Russell could never have imagined that the road from his first deployment in Afghanistan would have taken him to the steps of federal defamation court so many years later. Or that even as he was suing the ABC, their investigations unit would continue a campaign of damning stories, and that publications like The Guardian would happily repeat the smears. The ABC published a story alleging that he shot at unarmed civilians from a Black Hawk helicopter in 2012.
You can imagine me sitting here when I've already commenced legal proceedings and this gets published.
But just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. In a way that would please any producer of Hollywood fiction, the ABC took Heston's story to another level. Video sequences in online news articles made it look like the shooter was taking pot shots at a couple of unarmed men running for cover. Why is that music underneath?
So what this footage was actually taken from is an end of deployment compilation video that one of our guys put together from a bunch of our helmet camera during the deployment.
Highlight
reel, yeah.
Right. The Commando's highlight video reel, complete with its anthemic underscore, provided the foundations for the ABC's online news story. But it took a significant detour from reality. Because in the actual helmet cam vision, it's a warning shot.
Buggers, eh? Seems like, if I'm at ballpark, seems like they've gone and taken the footage where the guy has run into that compound and where Heston has seen what I think he described earlier in the first reaction, seen the person bend down and pick up what appeared to be or look like a weapon. And from there, he's instructed his signalman in the chopper to shoot him now, to take him out. And I think he then spoke about in the first reaction, chopper comes to the ground and his teammate or his troop, one of his subordinates, is firing multiple rounds at that person. So maybe they've gone and doctored and edited that piece and overlaid it with the person who they had seen shooting at their troops in the first place, running seemingly unarmed and far out. I wonder if that's what they've done.
Then, Heston's command to shoot. Followed by 6 shots. Revealing an astonishing difference between the source vision and the version of events told by the ABC's Mark Willesee, which starts with 6 rounds of firing. Then, the single warning shot becomes 6.
To me, it appears
They've added looks like added shots in from the rounds that were being fired into the compound. You scumbags! Far out.
some of these figures are
They've literally added extra gunshots.
That's phenomenal. So,
I fell off my chair when I saw this.
to get to the bottom of how it could be that Aussie commandos were portrayed as shooting more shots than they actually did, we took all of the vision to independent forensic digital audio expert James Raper.
Wow, that's a thing. An independent digital audio forensic expert? Holy heck.
So are you happy with the chain of custody here? Are you happy with the source of this material that you have?
I'm absolutely 100% confident in the audio that you have provided for me, as well as the video footage. And the news clip I took directly from their website and from YouTube.
James analysed the sound waves from the original helmet cam video, the Commandos highlight video reel, and the ABC's online news publications.
So we can hear that there's one distinct gunshot in that footage. Now,
The warning shot.
The warning shot.
Heston talks about.
That's correct, that's correct. That one gunshot lines up perfectly across both the helmet cam footage and the souvenir video. This changes when we get to the news clip. If we listen to it, we'll be able to hear 6 distinct gunshots.
This is like the magic pudding. So we've added another 5 gunshots.
That's what the evidence points to. They've taken the audio from the 6 shots and they've applied it to this video in the news clip, and they've copied and pasted across this scene. It completely misrepresents what those soldiers were going through that day.
Were you surprised when you did the analysis and saw and heard what you were looking at? I mean, we're talking about Australian troops here, firing or not firing against real people.
Yeah, I was surprised. More than that, I was quite shocked.
I'm pleased to hear this forensic expert say that, because I think those people that have been really quick to jump on the bandwagon and say that Australian troops have just been out there murdering people, shooting at and killing unarmed civilians, if they could pull their heads in to have a look at this footage, this media, this independent forensic expert, whatever his title is with regards to audio digital material, and even he is acknowledging that he was surprised, it wouldn't be surprising then that the general public could be duped or could be led to believe that Australian troops, or in this case Heston Russell and his team of commando unit, are doing those sorts of things. If a forensic digital expert independent could be fooled into thinking that that's what's happening based on the footage that he's seen and the things that he's hearing as a result of that, and media can disguise and frame and tweak and be deceitful and doctor video imagery and sounds to suit their narrative, then what chance do the rest of us have, or what chance do other people have that haven't served in those environments or haven't been over there? But having an understanding of what the soldiers are like in the ADF, from my perspective anyway, those that I served with at 4RAR, those that I served with in the Special Air Service Regiment, man, they're good men. They're not going out there looking to just drop people. And if we've been paying attention to Heston Russell's commentary so far from part one of my reaction to this one, you can see and hear examples of that for people that are brave enough to open their eyes and maybe acknowledge and look at the fact that, you know what, I believed the footage that ABC and The Guardian were putting out about Heston Russell and his team, and now I can see that I'm wrong. But there may still very well be those that have got the blinkers on and that can't see the forest for the trees, and that may still wholeheartedly believe that Australian Special Forces commandos and SAS are murderers. And, you know, you're wrong and you're stupid if you think that that's the case.
It also makes you wonder what else has been fabricated, doesn't it?
Correct.
Believe it or not, this concocted shooting sequence was not part of the defamation case pursued by Heston. This false narrative was published during his trial. The trial that saw Heston awarded nearly $400,000 in damages began some 3 years before.
Wonder why that is. Why couldn't that piece be included? Maybe there's a legal piece for that. Can he go back and claim for it? It'd be great if he could.
That was ignited when celebrated ABC investigative journalist Mark Willesee published a story that relied on the ear witness account of an American helicopter door gunner who went by the pseudonym Josh. Josh described a mission where Aussie soldiers allegedly captured 7 prisoners, but the extraction chopper could only accommodate 6.
And you just heard the silence, and then we heard a pop, and then they said, okay, we have 6 prisoners. And so it was pretty apparent to everybody involved in that mission that they had just killed a prisoner, that we had just watched them like catching hogties.
Who's that guy? Door gunner. We'd heard a pop. Sounds like rubbish just listening to that at just my first initial thought. Anyway, it's the first time I've heard this.
And he's on a helicopter, not on the ground, but a helicopter that's flying.
So he was in a Huey gunship that provided aerial fire support. And he's out the side, manning a machine gun, wearing night vision goggles.
So he's seen all that and he's heard all that from a hovering helicopter, has he?
Who knows what over the years his mind has decided to tell him is what happened that night.
You were not named in that story, but you took it very personally.
Well, they named November Platoon. They said it was during 2012. I was the November Platoon commander. So they did name me because they named November Platoon and I was the commander.
Josh, the American soldier, hoped to remain anonymous to avoid retribution.
It's recording. How do I check
But
that, Alex?
curiously, his face and voice went to air in the ABC stories. Even more unusual were Josh's own warnings to Mark Willesee about his credibility in emails.
My memory is pretty hazy, so I can't really give you anything specific.
About his decade-old memories.
I don't even remember who it was I was flying with for sure.
And
far out. I bet this stuff was never included in Willa Twat's bloody portrayal of the information that he had supposedly done his investigative journalism in. What a wanker.
About the whole story. To top it off, Josh's recollection of the time frame was another red flag.
When the ABC published their article saying this happened between June and July, and I produced my deployment record that showed we weren't even in Afghanistan during that time period.
Willisey's own memory wasn't much better. At the prestigious Walkley Awards, in a featured conversation on stage with another investigative journalist, Chris Masters.
I recognise that old twat. He's been involved in the some of the other ones that I was reacting to, I think around the Ben Robert-Smith stuff. Far out. You got the dynamic duo right there.
I spent 2 months working on a particular story involving, a US helicopter crewman, and he told the story that they were out in an operation, they dropped their commandos. Then it was time to pick them up, and, they radio in and said, we've got 6, our guys and 6 prisoners, and, the chopper pilot, he heard it through the communication, said, well, we've only got room for 5. And then, yep, we're good, we've got 5.
He published a story that said 7 turned into 6, and on stage he said 6 turned into 5.
And I spent 2 months checking out, going back.
I was just thinking of it. It was like, I thought it was 7 and then 6. Now it's 6 and 5. Oh, man. This guy, that's what happens when you tell lies, right? When you're making crap up, you get caught out, and he'll probably have a story for this as well. Oh, I thought it was 6 and 5, and oh, bloody hell. Hard case, man.
To this guy, getting more detail.
That's it.
More hazy detail. Not saying anything about the email that you received with the information and him saying that his memory's pretty hazy, etc., etc.
Fairly big mistake, wouldn't you think?
It's not accusing someone of being a shoplifter. It's not accusing someone of, jaywalking. It's accusing Special Forces soldiers of being war criminals.
There's this idea that we make shit up, and we don't.
He makes the point on stage. He says, look, you can't make this shit up. But your trial proved...
Literally.
They did.
Literally made shit up.
We asked the ABC if they added extra gunshots to their online story. In a bombshell admission to us only late Friday, the ABC acknowledged they'd made a mistake, telling Spotlight, "We have removed the online video where an error has been identified based on preliminary inspection of the audio. The ABC is seeking more information on how this occurred. Joe Pacini, Mark Willisey and Josh Robertson had no role in the production and editing of the online video you have brought to our attention. Any suggestion that they've acted inappropriately or unethically is completely false."
Wow. I tell you what, you got a good group of people there, like covering your backside, Willisey and co. Are they good people? Depends on which side of the bloody coin you're on, in terms of what's coming at you. But this is it's disgusting, man. Who are these people? You got soldiers over there in the Australian Defence Force. Don't get me wrong, Special Forces Commandos, SASR or not, whether you're just in the Defence Force. You got members in the Defence Force going away prepared to fight so that twats like you can have your freedom, but not to the point so that you can just go spread lies about them. You are a frickin' wanker, mate. What a tool. That is just disgraceful. Far out.
Next, the collateral damage caused by the ABC's relentless pursuit of Heston Russell.
All up then, what do you estimate that this has cost the taxpayer?
And just when you think things can't get much grubbier in the fight to clear his name.
And the ABC contacted people through a gay troll forum and then published one of those images.
I assume that's to do with his sexuality or something. Not that I've heard about it, or I think I've heard bits and pieces. I'm guessing he's gay. What that might have to do with anything to do with operations or combat I have no idea. But anyway,
There's more monuments and memorials to war veterans in Washington, D.C. than in any other city in the US. And that's appropriate because that's why we've come to the Capitol to talk to an American vet who was used by the ABC to criticise Aussie commandos. But Brett Hamilton says his carefully selected words were selectively used to twist the story, and he wants to set the record straight.
This, to me, what this guy's doing seems to be what I would expect investigative journalism to look and sound and feel like. Not just because it aligns with, I suppose, my bias towards the military. You could say that that's what's coming through. But he's going to sources, looking to double check. He's asking questions. Did anybody from the Australian media contact you, to the pilot that was part of that worked with Heston Russell and his team? Nobody reached out from the ABC investigative journalism team, not Mark Willesee, nobody, to speak with the pilot from the US force that was there, which you'd think would be a good starting point. Doesn't seem like anyone's spoken with the door gunner. Maybe he declined to be spoken to. But this seems to be more of a genuine attempt to do actual investigation or investigative journalism than the bloody debacle that, what's his name? The Willa clown has gone and done.
Hey, Brett Hamilton.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, it's good to see you, Leo.
Good to see you, Brett. Yeah. It's a long way to come, but, you know, you've got this all ready for me.
Yeah, you ready to go? Want to go for a flight?
You serious?
Absolutely.
The highly decorated US Marine and DEA agent says his interview with the ABC was secured on the basis that he would be talking up his combat interaction with our Aussie commandos and telling the world what a great fighting unit they were and how proud he was to be deployed alongside them. But Brett says the conversation was selectively cut to make it sound like he and his Task Force 66 did not want to be associated with Heston Russell's November platoon in any military capacity.
Your position on this came across in stark fashion that you didn't want to work with Heston's platoon because there was an underlying sense of suspicion.
Oh, that's exactly how it came across. Absolutely. That's how it was edited. That's how the interview was edited, correct.
Can I play you what went to air?
Sure, yeah. I said, look, I would prefer to stay with Oscar Platoon. I think they're more in line with RMO, and I think it would just be better for everyone if we were stuck with one platoon.
You just got by TF-66.
Yes, they should definitely be investigated. We've got to be able to show that we've held our soldiers accountable. So the comment that was made just prior to that comment was, if there's legitimate and concrete evidence that a crime's been committed, yes, they need to be investigated. But the way this is edited, it makes it sound like, you know, I'm saying that these guys need to be investigated. And it infuriates me.
And it wasn't true?
It was not true, no.
Bloody, it's not all media. I'm getting an idea of that as I listen to this guy, this journalist going around, doing the rounds and speaking with people. But it's hard to filter out the crap, and know who's good and who's not. Clearly, ABC is a blanking soup sandwich from what I'm seeing and listening to, and that's been nice about it.
Look, had we thought there were ethical concerns with anyone within Task Force 66, we wouldn't have worked with them. Not with any of them.
With any of the Aussies?
Absolutely not. There's no way on earth that a group of special agents with the DEA would have risked their own reputations being associated with someone we thought was unethical. We wouldn't have done it.
What would you say to people who are sitting in their armchairs, sort of trying to work out how you interpret a war crime accusation?
God, yeah, that's hard. It's just, everything can go to shit at the drop of a hat. Before you make these accusations, you have got to have so much more evidence than you would typically in a domestic setting. There's no way you can truly understand what combat is like unless you've been involved in it.
I'm going to pause that one there. Those are powerful words, man. I really like what this guy, this DEA agent, is sharing. Things can turn to custard really quick. And not only the task or the enemy or their actions or emotions or whatever might be happening, so many things that are just outside of your control. That doesn't make it right for anybody to then think that they can just let loose and perform criminal acts. But man, when you're fighting a war and you got enemy that are dressed in civilian clothing that will shoot at you from in amongst a crowd of innocent civilians, men, women, children alike, and or look to run away and disappear within that crowd because they know that Western forces are not going to go brass up and just shoot rounds aimlessly into a crowd of unarmed people. It's a difficult job that these men and women sign up for and that they go and do to the best of their ability. And to have a media organisation, one so prominent like the ABC in Australia, with the power, the influence, with the ability that they have to construct and then deliver a narrative to either be truthful or to suit their own agenda, it's a powerful tool, man. You should be very careful about what it is and be more mindful and thoughtful about what it is that you're doing. You want to turn your country against your defence force or a key portion of your defence force, when you got people right at your doorstep that would probably want to look to come and try their hand and their luck at looking to invade other countries. It's it's hard to understand why those people in the ABC would want to do anything like that. And then to sit on stage and then pause. I think you paused, Mark Willesee, when you said there's this idea that we, make stuff up. I think you paused because you know that you do 100% make stuff up and you are aware of it. For the ABC to put down a comment and say that you were not involved in the production of, surely, mate, you're the lead investigative journalist. Surely you want to have a look at that final cut and production piece before it goes live, I would have thought, because it's your name being broadcasted and highlighted out there. Or are you telling me you just trust the producers to put whatever it is that they want and then it just goes to air with your little voiceover piece? I don't buy that for a second. So you got some people that are looking out for you that clearly think that it's okay to employ and have liars working in their organization, making out soldiers in the ADF, commandos in this particular instance, look like war criminals. And those above you, including you, think that that's okay. You need to have a good hard look at yourself, mate. And I won't say what I'd like to say on here. You need to have a good hard look at yourself and pull your frickin' head in. There should be some sort of apology made to the November platoon, made to Mr. Heston Russell, verbally, visually, bold and public. And you fellas should be held accountable for the lies that you've spread. Surely there's some sort of prison time that should be associated with that. I'd like to think there was. But anyway, appreciate anybody out there that spent any time here listening to me rant and ramble on. It is pretty upsetting watching this, and it doesn't even affect me personally. But to know that Mr. Russell and his team members have been put through the ringer, we haven't even gotten to the end of this yet, is pretty freaking disgraceful, if you ask me, with regards to what they're trying to portray here. Very different to the SASR stuff, I get that. So, but still, I think it makes it hard for the ABC to have credibility and to hold weight. But I think they've probably brainwashed enough people in Australia that they've probably got enough ratings and money to continue pumping out their lies and or their own personal agenda and narratives for ratings or whatever the case might be. So anyway, as always, regardless of your challenges, difficulties, trials, just got to stay in that fight, keep putting one foot in front of the other, take one day at a time. Just like Heston Russell has and been fighting, and many other people with whatever their challenges may be. But it's important, man, to just keep turning up each day, put one foot in front of the other and staying in that fight. Things can do and will get better. It can be lonely, it can be hard, it can be miserable, it can be a massive, massive burden. The things that sometimes we are forced to endure, whatever those things might be, whether it's work-related, whether it's allegations, false allegations and false accusations like this, whether it's relationship issues, employments, whatever. It can be hard, but not insurmountable if we're willing to stay in that miserable place and keep fighting. So I just encourage you or anybody that you might know to just stay in that fight and stick at it. The sun will shine again. There are better days ahead, and those better days are closer than you and I think, and there is a light at the end of that tunnel. So stick at it. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.